Welcome to Breakfast Central. It's time for us to review the papers. Joining us this morning is Public Affairs Analyst Dotun Ojon. Good morning. Baraka de Salah.
Baraka de Salah.
Happy
holiday.
Eid. Did anybody give you meat?
No, I've not gone out. I'm going out today.
All right. That's true. One of our guests promised us meat. Habib Haruna.
I think he sent his address already.
Did he send it?
Yes, he did.
I may have to join the train because Habib is my friend.
Ah, nice. And this one you and Joe are wearing a shrebi. That's really nice. Okay, let's get into the papers this morning and see what the front pages are saying. Let's start with the Daily Trust. On the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper this morning, 2027 division in Tinubu's base. Okay. Still on the front page, Hajj, how 7 Nigerian pilgrims died in Saudi Arabia. That's not a very good look at all. At the bottom of the paper there, we can see some of the stories. There are residents, experts to raise alarm over state of FCT abattoirs. Top contenders square up for Anambra governorship. Kano GSM market fire, traders count losses. ACF to president, prioritize governance over re-election. Democracy Day, president to address joint session of National Assembly. Naval officer stabbed to death in Kaduna. That's all on the front page. But if you look closer into the top story, it says there are cracks in the southwest base of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu months to the formal announcement or commencement of activities leading to the 2027 general election. Southwest being the president's base where he cuts his political teeth to become one of the most influential political leaders in the country, is regarded as his turf and linchpin for 2027. However, they're saying that recent happenings in the zone have shown that there is some form of division. Do you agree with the potential of a division in the southwest zone?
Yes, there's a heavy division, obvious ones that can be seen by all. But the impact of that on 2027 may just be marginal, minimal, so to say. For example, let's start from Lagos. You've noticed the back and forth that has started since the ousting of the former speaker and his eventual return. So it was a lot of politicking that was involved, and since after that, I know that the president and the governor has not been having a very good time, and the governor has been absent in some of major occasions and events that ordinarily he would have been there, being the governor of the president's base. But of course, beyond that, there was this allegation also that somehow through proxy, that the governor contributed to the campaign of Atiku Abubakar. Yes. It sounded unbelievable to me with the with the character of the governor. But of course, politician, you can never tell what the interest is. Nobody could have thought that even the president and Atiku would be fighting this dirty, having been business allies, friends for so long a time, business partners and all of that. So in politics, you cannot actually predict what will happen in the future. That's for Lagos. And you know, once there's crisis like that, there's this language that emanated from PDP those years. They say it's a family affairs, so they have to resolve it. And we were told yesterday that a resolution was procured without necessarily hearing the sides of whosoever the people that were involved. And I think that's a good one for the president. Now, going to Oyo, Oyo State has been a bit of back and forth since the 2023 election. In fact, the advisors of the governor of Oyo State had told him before the 2023 election that if he was not careful, he was going to lose that election because he took side with APC for the presidential election and came back to run as governor. And so there were a lot of back and forth. And do not forget that before he became governor, the influence of Senator Folani has been prominent within the PDP. And when he moved to APC, he became the flag bearer of the party in Oyo State. And usually, if you run for office as a governorship candidate of your party, and if your party loses election, indirectly you take the leadership position of the party. And that's exactly what Senator Folani did. Unfortunately, his camp was expecting that he would be appointed minister. And the president went over him to pick another person who was not even a member of APC at that point in time because of relationship. So this has polarized and has continued to polarize APC in Oyo State. Combined with the fact now that we've seen social media reports and a bit of confirmation and denial here and there. No, trust politicians. What they want to do, they will first of all deny it. We've seen posts, we've seen news of the governor of Oyo State, his interest in becoming the next president. And of course, a lot of people have said that that's what true spanner into the wheel of progress that was going on between him and Wike. So Oyo State...
But he has not outrightly said that he's running.
He has not outrightly said, but...
I mean, he has the capacity, but he's not outrightly...
Of course, he has the capacity. That's how politicians talk. And, and you should have understood them by now. Now, if you look at, we have 3 camps now. Okay. The PDP that supported the president in 2023 in Oyo State, one camp, may not be supporting him in 2027. Folari is another camp. The Minister of Power is another camp. So there are 3 major camps in Oyo State now that will affect the level of vote at the end of the day. So the bulk vote that the president got in Oyo State in 2023 may actually be affected. Now, quickly, let's go to the last base, which we believe that is actually the home state of the president, Osun State. Osun State is in a big mess because the former governor had, a lot of people had thought that he would come back and run again, Governor Oyetola, former Governor Oyetola. But the feelers we are having is that there must be a power shift. Governor Oyetola is from Iragbiji, and the former governor of the state, this Prince Olagusoye Oyinlola, is from Okuku, the same senatorial district. So they are trying to look at how power can shift to other places. And there have been people that are coming to say, oh, they want to run, including the sitting secretary of APC. So there have been back and forth even within APC. Now the complication there, the major complication I'm seeing, is not even about whether one person is running or not. It's that the present governor, Imole himself has been fantasizing with the president. You saw, in fact, about last week, we saw him, his elder brother and Davido paid courtesy call on the president. And from the home front, there have been reaction from Osun State. They've been saying, no, we don't want him in our party.
Yeah, we saw that quick press conference.
So it's a major issue because they know that in politics, you trade position. A man who does not have position in politics does not have anything to trade. So if a sitting governor is coming to your party, you consider it as a major plus. And the people there are saying, no, this man didn't do anything. According to them, that we can win him in a clean and fair relation. But the president may not want to think like that. He has what to lose more than anyone in Osun State that are currently talking. So it's going to be a plus for him if a sitting governor moves, or even if a sitting governor enters into an agreement that, see, oh, let them elect me as the governor and we elect you as the president. So people that are complaining now don't understand the implication of self-sustainers, which is what the president is actually doing. You will notice that there are a number of people that are decamping to APC now. Despite that, the president is still meeting people. I don't know whether that picture is recent. I saw a picture of even Segun Showumi.
Yeah,
that's recent.
That was recent.
So I mean, he's been here and we asked him if he's decamping yet, and he laughed and said, nah.
So, but he keeps reaching out. I remember when late Odumaki will criticize Tinubu, and before you know it, Tinubu will invite him for a meeting.
That's why they call him the master.
You have to learn one or two things from him. His level of political forgiveness is top notch. His level of tolerance, at least the one I know of him, is top notch. These are some of the things that he's bringing to the table, despite the fact that the economy keeps messing up his character. Because I said it the other day, we can rely on the figure and shout hallelujah in church, but democracy is a government of figure and feeling. So if the people in your community does not have a direct impact on the policy, the program, and the project of government, then maybe you have not done well enough.
Wow.
Well, there's a lot to look into.
It's interesting. I mean, you've talked about the politics of the southwest part of Nigeria. Earlier today, we're looking at South Nigeria and how the APC seems to be is gradually becoming a stronghold. I mean, if you're in charge of 4 out of 6 states, maybe 4.5, Rivers will be because only Rivers and Bayelsa now, they're not under overt APC control. But when you check it, Rivers in some way is still now, I mean, with the sole administrator who was put in there by an APC president. So Can we say that River State now is gradually also?
That's the half you are talking about.
Oh, wow.
That's the half you are. And this is one of the reasons why people continue to talk about one-party state. It's getting to a point where they have begun to be afraid. Now, you remember during PDP that I think PDP at the point was having about 27 states of the federation. But there was not much of this fear because what PDP was doing at that point in time was not the campaign. What PDP was doing is to steal votes during election. They wait for the day of election. They will carry ballot paper. They will write figures and ensure that their own person wins. But this one now is, okay, we don't have to wait for election. Let's just do the maneuvering that we have to do within the period of play. Don't let us wait for the halftime or even the end time. I think that's one of the reasons. And one very bad thing in PDP happened. There were a lot of political atrocities that happened during PDP, but it happened during election. There was this man called Ehinlanwo, Senator Ehinlanwo. His name did not make it as the candidate of PDP. Olushola Oke name made it as the candidate of the senatorial candidate of PDP. And Olushola Oke was spending, campaigning. You know, when INEC publish your name, he was campaigning, was spending money. And when people go to Ehinlanwo, Senator Ehinlanwo, he will say, no, it's my campaign manager. And this man, Olushola Oke, won election. Before he got to Abuja, they've done swearing in for Ehinlanwo. That's under PDP. That was what they were doing. But APC now has taken it a bit further. Instead of waiting for election and stealing ballot, let us, because our democracy has actually grown, the level of ballot snatching now has gone down. But let's see what we can do to talk to people. If there's any red card, we can show them in the secret that you have some skeleton in your cupboard. Though. If we can do that, let's do that. All we can do to ensure that, I'm not saying that's what they are doing, but there's also a possibility of that. Let's just mop up the entire voices of opposition that we have so that we can face 2027. And the bad thing about that is that the way it's going, if we continue this way, APC will win the 2027 election, the presidential election for 2027. But immediately after the presidential election, APC will scatter. But
APC is not the only one that they are moving to. NNPP too. They are already moving to NNPP. If you look at the front page of The Guardian, for example, you see here that Kwankwaso receives 1,230 APC supporters to NNPP. That's
okay, so yes, so the difference between that is that one party is receiving leaders, the other is receiving supporters. So, and you know Nigeria, the Nigeria kind of politics, the question is always, who dare your party?
Why do you say
quality over quantity?
Yes, who dare your party? So once they believe that you have 10 senators, okay, they believe that you have the capacity to actually win election. Meanwhile, those senators are not the one that will vote. But it's the concept of perception, not of performance. The perception, they look at your party, and that's why you hear a lot when you are trying to advertise a new party to people and say, oh, vote for this party. They say your party cannot win election. It's not about the fact that the people do not like your party. It's about the fact that your party does not have that kind of perception. How many governors do you have? How many senators do you have? So I think that's the major difference. You can be receiving supporters and the other person can be receiving just a minimum number of leaders. And at the end of the day, perception will favor the other party.
All right.
Okay.
Anyway, let's look at, still on The Guardian, but I'd like us to quickly look at this story. Lagos, you've talked about that. Lagos political storm clears. Tinubu forgives Sanwo-Olu, a JC brokered truce. Ondo PDP berates Aiyedatiwa's refusal to complete Akeredolu's project. I did talk about that in the breakfast headlines, and then there's a response from his press secretary who says he's going to do that. We lost millions to Durbar cancellation. Kano government laments. Troops uncover 27 illegal oil sites, arrest 43 in Niger Delta. And economy back on track, but not yet, Uhuru says Bagudu. June 12th, Tinubu to address NAS, confer national honors on lawmakers. That's another story to look out for. So, what's your take? Let's take this story, economic back on track, but not yet, Uhuru, according to Bagudu.
If you look at the first business leverage and all of those things, you discover that the figures are coming out well. And of course, one thing that a lot of people are not aware of is that when you devalue your currency, the major advantage in that is that it will allow the world to be able to procure your product. In other words, if you devalue your currency and they export any product from your country, the product will be cheaper outside of your country. So it will give the people an access to be able to buy it. But if you devalue your currency and you do not have enough exports, you have done nothing but to destroy the livelihood of the people. So that's why now when you look at it now, it's looking as if we are attracting more foreign currency because of the fact that the little export that we are having, people can have access to it because their currency is already devalued. So if you look at the figure are looking well. And don't make the mistake of trying to compare the figure with how the government...
reality.
Well, no, don't make the mistake of, first of all, comparing the figure with when the government came on board. If you compare the present figure now that, oh, we are doing well, and you take it side by side with when the government came on board in 2023, you will see that we are not doing well. But if you compare the figure that we are having now with what the government did in the first 3 months of getting to office, then we are doing well. That means, don't let me confuse you, that means if you compare the figure we have now with Buhari's figure, we are not doing well. But if you compare the figure we have now with Tinubu's first 3 months in office, then we are doing well. That means that it was Tinubu government himself that made the situation extremely complicated. So what they are correcting now is their own complication. I don't know whether you got that now.
Now I get your point.
So we are looking well now.
I think from the proclamation of fuel subsidy is gone. We saw research in everything from the economy down. And that impacted everything. So what they're trying to do is basically, in simple terms, trying to solve that problem that was created.
Yes, that was created.
But the worry is, would they ever go back to how it was before that statement was made?
That's where the issue is. Because the economic direction of the president is completely different from the governments that have come before him. Completely different. Now, if you look at his style in Lagos, all the development he put in place in Lagos, number one, you will see 3 undertones. Number one is privatization. Number 2 is heavy taxation. Number 3 is more money for government. That is his own governmental mentality. Totally different from Jonathan administration and the man before him, Yaradua. Yaradua is welfareism. And that was why he was able to crash the price of petrol. Because he didn't care what the government is making. He just felt that democracy is about feeling. Now, but the government presently, democracy is about figure. Let us make more money so that we can embark on more projects. Now, that is very good when you embark on more projects. But now this is the complication. If you embark on those projects and your people need to pay for those projects, that's where the complication is. Because now your people are paying more, they are not earning more. 70,000 naira minimum wage is not more compared to the reality of the market. But you need to pay now to drive from Lagos to Calabar. And the argument will be, which one will be preferable for us to invest heavily in the East-West Road? Ma'am, East-West Road started in 2005. Till today, we have not fixed it.
It's not been fixed.
It's not been fixed. So these are the implications of some of that policy. But you can never detach a man from his mentality. This is President Tinubu's mentality. He believes that for any government to run efficiently, the government needs more money through taxation. Whether that is right or wrong will be for classroom debate.
Okay, let's go and do a mini analysis of our lawmakers. If you still look at the top right corner of the Guardian newspaper, it says, June 12, Tinubu to address National Assembly and confer national honors on lawmakers. Yeah. We're not sure who these lawmakers are, so I'm going to give you open assessment of Nigeria's lawmakers. Okay, so who and who do you think the president will confer national honors? Do you think maybe like Honorable Mweboshi?
I have one, and I'm going to state it here, and I think I will pass.
Who?
Who's that?
Senator Godswill Akpabio?
No.
Honorable Mweboshi?
No. The FCT minister.
No, National Assembly.
He's going to be there. Oh, you mean the National Assembly? No, it's not just National. They say he's also going to, not just National, if you read the full story, he's not just going to address, give national honors to only lawmakers.
Let me even see if we
have...
have...
other people too, that they're going to receive national honors.
Okay, but
let me... Okay, your question is the National Assembly.
National Assembly.
Okay, so the first name you called.
I think, in all honesty, yeah, one of the ways that we have bastardized our own kind of democracy is that we do not know the importance of the National Assembly. What makes democracy democracy is actually the National Assembly. Because where we are coming from, if you check the military rule, you see that there's executive arm, National Military Council or something. The judiciary is functional, but no legislature. So what makes democracy democracy is the input of the legislature. Now, in our own case, we have forgotten this. So when we are sending people to the National Assembly, we send anyhow people to the National Assembly, and at the end of the day, we are expecting our democracy to be very thick. It's not going to happen. Let's quickly touch on the issue of the budget. The executive can prepare anything and throw it down as the budget and the yearly budgetary provision. It is the duty of the National Assembly to look through it, page after page, line after line. In fact, there's never been a time in Nigeria, and I stand to be corrected, that the president knows every detail in the budget. It is the duty of the National Assembly to do. But when you now put anyhow people in your National Assembly, then your democracy becomes faulty, because anything that affects your budget from the very beginning has put a question mark on the delivery of such budget for the year. For instance, if you have a budget where cutlery keeps featuring, at least I know this from 2019, that cutlery in Aso Rock keeps featuring every time. In one of the State of the Federation, there was argument about one particular amount of money in an office, 10 billion naira. And when they opened the budget backwards, they discovered that this 10 billion has been featuring since democracy started in one office, and nobody has seen it until the House of Assembly of that state saw it recently. That's exactly what happened. So our lawmakers are supposed to be the symbol of our democracy. Defenders of democracy. The defender of our democracy. You do not need to go to the court if you have a working lawmaker. That's the meaning of that. Because the problem that will have taken you to court in the first place will have been tackled from legislation and compellation of the executive to do what is right. But in this instant now, there seems not to be a difference. And it's not about fighting. Nobody says democracy is about the legislature fighting the National Assembly. It's about aligning on what is right for the benefit of the Nigerian people. And if you see any question mark on the act of the executive, you call them to order. It's as simple as that. So, to disappoint you, majority of the people in the National Assembly will be honored by the president, because they may not have done your own kind of bidding, quote unquote, but they've done excellently in the sight of Mr. President. So, like he gave GCON to Senator Tajuddin Abbas, he's also looking at possibly.
We don't know yet. Or
no, I mean, he did that in 2024.
Yeah, he has done that. There were people that already have national honors.
Yes, so I'm just looking at it from that in 2024. If you bring it down to 2025, obviously, I mean, I don't think we need to run through the names. I think it's a bit obvious, but we'll wait. It's a joint session, and hopefully that will be after he gives his presidential speech. We'll see what will come out of that. But then again, it's still the renewed hope. Permit me to quickly move to Daily Independent. There's a very interesting story here in front of the Daily Independent. Let's see. SEC warns Nigerians against investing in Punisher coin. There's a new coin that's trending online. They call it Punisher coin. Again, Nigerians, as usual, will look forward to put small money and get the fortune of a lifetime. Let's move on to another one very quickly. Serap asks Tinubu to review appointment of APC members as recs. Now, this is a story I want us to look at, because this is rearing its ugly head again, especially on page 6. If you have time to read that story, please do. And it dates back to what had occurred in 2023, prior to the elections, where there were rumors that some of the recs were loyalists and party members of the current APC. But yet nothing was done. And that led to a lot of revelations where some politicians and some, political parties had fingered the losses of a huge number of, politicians who were vying for office to what the recs had done, not ensuring that things were done properly. But this is rearing its ugly head again. Serap is saying, review it.
You see that suddenly I have become extremely sober.
I saw that.
Yeah, because I can't even say half of what I know. It's when people go out and they shout that police is corrupt, police is corrupt. If I ask anybody now to name the most corrupt agency of government. People will say it's the police because they see them once in a while collect 15 naira. If you know how corrupt some of these agencies of government are, you will pity our future. In fact, you will pity the future of democracy. The first way to destroy democracy is to put partisan people in position of electioneering. That is the first way to destroy. At least we will not be doomed as a nation to the extent that we will not see free minds. People who don't have their hand in politics take up these responsible positions. At the end of the day, we are trying to destroy democracy by putting partisan people in position where they will have to organize election. In fact, I say it, I say that there are, apart from INEC, there are many sensitive positions that politicians do not have any business in. For example, what's this agency that gives a review of statistics? Or
NBS.
NBS.
For example, NOA, National Orientation Agency. All of these, some of these agencies don't have any reason why you should make a politician their head. Because they are not working for your administration. They are working for Nigerians. And it's sad when we get to, and it's not a question of Tinubu's government too. It was heavy. You remember this woman who was spokesperson to the president, Loretta. You remember her?
Yes, I do.
You remember at a point she was actually nominated for INEC position.
Yes.
That is how they are gradually destroying democracy.
Yes.
So it's something, if I didn't fight for democracy, it was Tinubu and co that fought for democracy, according to their report and what we have read. And if they want to use their hand to destroy what they fought for, they should let us know, so that we will not come out to educate anybody. We will know that those who fought for it have decided to actually also destroy it. Then everybody will keep quiet. But for us to continue and be putting people that are partisan in positions where they have to conduct election, control the process of election, or announce result, then it's the fastest way to destroy democracy. And I'm sober because I've seen it happen. Now, we have created an impression that if you do not belong to APC, you can never win election. And the people are suffering for it. At least let's give the people a chance to choose whoever they want at any point in time. But if you now begin to build the political layers that will make that impossible, build the political layers that even when people go out to vote genuinely, there are already layers that's going to frustrate whatever their aspirations are, then we are not doing well as a people. So I also want to plead with the president to critically look into this. And it's not just about, the embassy now, the United States Embassy.
Yeah.
When you want to apply for visa, they tell you put your social media account. So verifying people is not limited to, because this story that you will hear now is that they are not card-carrying members of the PDP. But go and check their social media. You will know their political alignment. So when you know their political leanings, once you know that they are towards APC, PDP, YPP, or any, just give to neutral people. So I think the president should just act on this.
Well, that's a big one. If you recall, just a few weeks ago, Senate had confirmed the appointment of 5 INEC commissioners as well. These 5 INEC commissioners, the names were submitted by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in March. So basically just saying that the report on behalf of the committee, Senator Simon Lalong also urged the Senate to confirm the nomination of 5 individuals. These individuals include Umar Yusuf Garba of Kano State, Saad Umar Idris Bauchi, not forgetting to Chukwuemeka C. Ibeziako, Anambra State, Umar Mukhtar Bono, Dr. Johnson Allah Libo, Sinikiam of Bayelsa State. But here we have Serap saying, listen, ensure that you review these appointments. And, I mean, you've highlighted why the fear is there again. But then again, we'll leave that story and move to another one very quickly. Shatima unveils federal government's asset restoration drive. He was in Borno State over the weekend, and he was able to give out tractors to farmers, especially for farming. The same Borno State where we also know that there's a fight against insecurity too. That is there. Illicit drug consignment packaged as green tea intercepted in Lagos Airport. We need to talk about this. Let's leave politics for now. this Sunday tonic that we always get from NDLEA every Sunday. I want to ask, I don't know if you're aware, do they apprehend these people only on Saturday and Friday? Or is it that they apprehend them on Monday and then they keep them so that they can release them on Sunday? Because it's a Sunday thing every now and then.
There are two possibilities.
Okay.
You know, when you travel on the road on weekend, on Sunday especially, you discover that the road is usually clearer and void of police men. That's when you travel on the road. And I think we can actually import the same logic into believing that the level of security at the airport may actually be a bit reduced during the weekend. It sounds logical.
It does.
But again, it could also be that, our press release or press statement will be on Sunday. It doesn't matter whether the incident happened on Monday or two. But whichever way, is the reality as we speak now that you cannot line, and let's even start from these other drugs. Let's go to the quote-unquote the bigger ones. You cannot line up 10 Nigerian youth today and be able to pick 5 of them that is not on any kind of drug. On any kind of drug. There was this musician. You know, I said it here. I made a quotation from Asha here the last time I came. She said, who is responsible for what we teach our children? Is it the internet or the star on television? There was a particular artist that was on stage, and I don't know what they call that thing. They said he put that thing in his mouth, and after performance, he forgot himself. So they have to give him hot slap or something to, I don't know what they did to just wake him up. These are the people that our youth are patterning their life. These are the people they look at when they put on their phone. These are the people they see. Unfortunately, deliberate involvement of government and investment to counter that narrative is very minimal. Extremely minimal. You cannot say you want to do any mentorship program in school today and they will give you a chance. I told you that story back and forth that we have. So we are not investing in the development of the mind in a way that we make people naturally see that drug is not going to add anything to their life. We have just left them to pattern their life with the stars they see on television.
And we've sort of made
it fashionable,
you know? We've made it fashionable. Growing up, there were those things were regarded as forbidden. And if you indulged in certain drugs or certain, I don't know if I should call, smoking certain things, you would have been looked at like, right,
in a certain way,
looked at a certain way. So people oftentimes who were involved in that did it secretly. Now, you are walking down the streets in VI and they are calling the names of these substances to you. And see how far, you want this one, you want that one. And I said, is this where we have gotten to? So even with substances, with drugs, it seems to have become regularized. And I can't downplay the influence of media. Media in terms of music, movies, and how, in a way, we make it seem cool. Which is why people would often ask, do you think that maybe introduction of capital punishment for drugs would cut down or limit how drugs are being trafficked? Certain countries like the Asian countries. I remember going to Thailand and I bought a metal box with numbers because I don't want you to say, oh, somebody opened your bag, zip, put something inside. Everybody was like, you're going to Thailand, please, be extra careful. So I went and bought a box because of my trip to Thailand. So do you think that that's something, that's an area that, even though, there are those who have kicked against it, but there are those who still push for capital punishment for drug abuse and drug trafficking?
2 things you have mentioned in that very short thought of yours. The first one is the issue of morality. And I've repeatedly said it, that when morals fail in every part of the world, we will circle back to Africa. But I've begun to doubt that now. Because instead of Africa to stick to the morals, Africa is trying to look for what is better than the morals. And we are falling into decadence. And that's why you see now that people just do these things because they've normalized it. The second aspect of it is that people are escaping the reality. And the major 2 ways that people escape their reality is that they go through the social media, they just stay there, they live there. And the second way is to be on drug. Unfortunately, there's this proverb in my village, because you wake up in my village as early as 5:30, people are already high. Ogogoro, not this thing.
Where's your village, by the way?
I'm from Eseldo, so in Ondo State. So while we're growing up, we see a lot of people that are already high. And they will always say it as a proverb that if you think you can escape your problem by getting high early in the morning, you are still coming back to the problem in the evening. So when people want to escape their realism, they embrace drug. But of course, when they come back, the problem is still there.
The icon clear.
Yeah, they have to go back again and again until it becomes an addiction. 2. Number 3, in Nigeria, capital punishment or whatever punishment has never stopped anything. My advice would be, let us make a deliberate investment in preventive measure, which is one of the reasons why I am applauding, what's the name of the agency now?
NDLEA?
NDLEA. I'm applauding them because consistently they have shown that they are doing something.
Absolutely.
You understand? So what the government needs to do is that when they are looking at the physicality of the fight, government should look at this, the psychology of the fight.
In NOA.
Yes, and reorientate the people and engage the community. If the police, I was the first person in Nigeria to start what I called Police Youth Connect. The idea then was that, okay, there was a lot of crisis that was happening. I was almost a prophet. It was as if I saw NSAS coming. So in Lagos here, I met with the Commissioner of Police, and we organized what we call Police Youth Connect. It was an idea for the police to speak their mind to the people. When the police wanted to sign their ambassador, they went to sign celebrity. When they signed the celebrity, I saw the celebrity smoking on TV. Not smoking ordinary thing, smoking Indian hemp on TV.
Okay.
That's the ambassador of police. So we cannot be fighting with one hand and be destroying what we have fought with another hand. We are so inconsistent, and it's because there's no national policy on some of these things. We must write deliberate national policy that no administration will be able to change.
And that does it. Thank you so much for joining us today. This wraps up the show for today. Thank you to our audience, our viewers, every guest who has joined us this morning on Breakfast Central. We'll be back again tomorrow when the world, at least in this part of Nigeria, returns to full work swing. For now, it's still holiday. Enjoy the rest of your holidays. We have a lot more interesting shows. Coming right up after Breakfast Central is Jasiri. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm Olive Emodi.
And I'm Joe Hansen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dr. Ojon for being here. Thank you. Thanks
Bye-bye.
for watching. See you guys tomorrow.